What exactly is a dysfunctional family? I'm Ken Francis, California licensed marriage and family therapist, and I'm enjoying a nice, relaxing weekend up in the Sierras. Come join me on a walk and let's look at the topic of family dysfunction and try to define what dysfunction actually means. I want to start off by saying that I don't like to use the word dysfunction. I think the word dysfunction can be as easily misused and misunderstood as the word normal. In Al-Anon, they say that normal is just a setting on your dryer. This makes the word normal a very subjective term because guess what? Your normal might be much different than my normal. So what exactly is normal? I know people who grew up in households where they went to church 5, 6, 7 days a week. And that was their normal. And they just assumed everybody else went to church 5, 6, 7 days a week. And other people I knew grew up in families where seeing people use drugs, be drunk, be violent, overdose, shootings, and that was their normal. So normal is very subjective. Some of you might be listening to this and be saying, hell no, that wasn't my normal. So normal is so subjective. What we know is what we know. And that's all we know until we know otherwise. If your normal is to go to church many days during the week and you happen to meet somebody in school who doesn't go to church at all or only goes once a week, you might look at them and say, wow, you're not normal. That's strange. That's odd because my normal is normal. And that's the trap we fall into when we look at a subjective term like normal or dysfunctional. So for a moment, I want you to get rid of the words normal and dysfunctional. Instead of thinking if your family was normal or dysfunctional, I want you to ask yourself, did I grow up with any level of stress and tension in my family? Because I think that's the key. We need to look and ask ourselves, was there stress? Was there tension? Because if our family was very relaxed, if our family was very calm, if there was no drama in our family, then there's a good chance that our family did not have any dysfunction to it. But if our normal and the everyday function of our family had to do with stress, tension, maybe chaos, maybe violence, those are the important factors to look into and explore. I work with a lot of people who tell me that they identify with the 14 traits of the ACA Laundry List. They, no doubt about that. They admit that they identify. But then they say, but I don't belong to ACA because my parents weren't alcoholics and there wasn't any dysfunction in my family. Because once again, they're falling into that trap of using the word dysfunction and not looking at the stress and tension that maybe created the identification of those laundry list traits. And if you are somebody who just cannot identify with any dysfunction growing up, ask yourself, did you grow up with any sense of stress or tension at all in your early formative years or later childhood? This could have even happened at a time when you were pre-verbal, before you have any solid memory. If you've heard about chaos in your family, even if it's something you don't remember, it probably had an impact on you. And another trap I see people fall into is that they just can't say the word dysfunctional, because to say that would be disloyal. They might acknowledge on some level, yes, there was some dysfunction in the family, but if I were to say my family is dysfunctional, then that means that I am disrespecting everything my mom did for me, everything my dad did for me, that I just can't bring myself to disrespect the family and say that we were dysfunctional. when maybe there still was a huge element of love, but I just can't break that respect and say the word dysfunction. And now let me invite you to take a new perspective in how you look at the word dysfunction. Remove the word dysfunction and look back in your past and ask yourself, did you grow up with any sense of stress or tension in the family? Was there any chaos? Was there any drama? Was there any neglect? Was there any confusion? And ask yourself about feelings. Did you grow up feeling shame or abandoned? Because these are the real root issues, and you don't need to get hung up on the word dysfunctional. If you can relate to any of those feelings, any of those occurrences, then that might be why you relate with the 14 traits of the ACA Laundry List. Once you work through the understanding of stress and tension in your family of origin, and you also come to grips with the fact that you can still call your family dysfunctional without being disloyal, can you start to move into the solution? I'm Ken, and thank you so much for joining me on this peaceful walk on this beautiful morning. And one last note, the view from the top is always amazing.